Not a single Republican showed up to the House of Representative deposition today of Les Wexner in Ohio. He was the main benefactor, the main money supplier of Jeffrey Epstein. The House Oversight Committee conducted this deposition of Wexner today in Ohio. Not a single Republican Congress member showed up. They have completely abandoned even the pretext of conducting further oversight and investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring. They were ordered by Donald Trump and MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, do not show up, do not be there at all, don't even lend your presence to this deposition. Now, a lot of bombshells at this deposition. Les Wexner, who's now 88 years old, admitted essentially that he had given Jeffrey Epstein about $1 billion over the course of his lifetime. He tried to frame it as he was duped by Epstein and Epstein was a con artist, but then Wexner admitted in his deposition that he believed he was in rooms with Donald Trump and Epstein at potentially beauty pageants and Victoria's Secret shows, that he was at the island. And then when it came to critical details about girls and what was going down at the island, what was happening in these meetings with Epstein and Trump and others, he just conveniently did not recall. As Joe Khalil explains, Les Wexner said under oath that neither the FBI nor the DOJ even ever sought to question him regarding Epstein, per the Democrats who sat in. So no questions by the DOJ when several Epstein victims publicly have alleged Wexner's involvement, and FBI documents list Wexner as an Epstein co-conspirator. Folks, the cover-up gets worse. Let me show you what Democratic Congress member Min said when he announced after the deposition that not one Republican Congress member showed up for this deposition of Les Wexner today. Let's play this clip.
It is very frustrating the fact that there are no Republicans here today. I wish there were Republicans, because sex trafficking should not be a D versus R issue. It should be a bipartisan issue. Everybody should be invested in finding the truth right now. And the fact that we've had so little cooperation from the Republicans on the House Oversight Committee, that the DOJ has actively tried to obstruct this investigation, that is shameful, and it will go down as a permanent mark on the records of people like Pam Bondi and Donald Trump.
Next, here's what Democratic Congress member and the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee for the Democrats had to say following this deposition. Here's what he wrote. Today's deposition made one thing clear. There would be no Epstein, no island, no planes, no money to traffic girls without the financial assistance of Les Wexner. We are committed to ending this White House cover-up, which protects criminals and billionaire benefactors. $1 billion from Wexner, essentially, to Epstein, and apparently the MAGA Republicans don't care about this. They don't care about the victims. They don't care about the survivors. Here, play this clip.
It's about $1 billion that was either transferred, provided in stocks, or given directly to Mr. Epstein by Wexner. We should be very clear that the two were very close per reporting. They spent a lot of time together. Mr. Wexner admitted that he traveled to both Epstein's island as well as his other properties. Mr. Wexner also admitted that Jeffrey Epstein had access to a lot of Mr. Wexner's wealth. And when asked even simple questions, even as it relates to Mr. Epstein being the co-president of the foundation that established the area that we're in today, Mr. Wexner had little to say. In fact, it's clear that Mr. Wexner is trying to downplay how close Jeffrey Epstein and Mr. Wexner actually were. And we should be very clear that there would be no Epstein Island, there'd be no Epstein plane, there'd be no money to traffic women and girls. Mr. Epstein would not be the wealthy man he was without the support of Les Wexner. I think it's very important for us to note at this moment.
Now, while that was taking place, what was Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans doing? Well, Donald Trump held a press conference literally at the same time. The split screen is so revealing. And Donald Trump said, and this is a quote, that he's going to force himself upon blue states and blue cities. He goes, I will force myself upon you, whether you like it or not. If I think that your state or city is too dangerous, I will force myself upon you, is what he said. Here, play this clip.
Thousands and thousands of lives in many cities. And frankly, if these radical left lunatic Democrats would come and say, please help us, please, we'd stop crimes all over the place. And we're doing it in a lot of cities. Sometimes we have to force ourselves upon them because they're so bad. And I don't even think they realize what's happening to their cities. And
now going back to Ohio, where this deposition of Wexner took place, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had the following to say.
Is that there were always young girls seemingly looking for an opportunity to model, and there were always rich and powerful people on the other side, dangling a carrot, saying, I will give you the life that you're seeking. Yet ultimately, the stories are the same. They're stories of abuse. They're stories of trafficking at the highest level. And I will tell you one thing that was remembered for sure was when asked about Donald Trump and Epstein and whether or not they had been in the same room and what that looked like. He didn't quite remember, but he imagined that, yes, that possibly happened because he did remember that Donald Trump also would like to show up to the Victoria's Secret runway shows. Now, that was a little odd to him, he said, because Donald Trump was not engaged in fashion whatsoever.
Now again, using our split screen right here, here's what Donald Trump was saying at his press conference. I love Nicki Minaj. Her skin is so beautiful. I asked her, are your nails real? Do you see what's happening? While Trump and MAGA were not at Les Wexner, he's out there talking about forcing himself onto people and how beautiful Nicki Minaj's skin is. How utterly disgusting. Here, play this clip.
I love Nicki Minaj. She was here a couple of weeks ago. She's so beautiful. Her skin's so beautiful. I said, Nicki is so beautiful. Her nails are they're like that long. I said, Nicki, are they real? She said, she didn't want to get into that.
Now, again, split screen. Here's what Democratic Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari was saying after the deposition. She actually showed up to do this deposition. Here, play this clip.
Over the course of the last year, the American public has been witnessing what I can only call the most egregious cover-up in American history. And today was a critical part of our investigation to try to end this cover-up once and for all. We have met with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the rich and powerful people that helped to perpetuate these crimes. And we have heard over and over from these victims the name of Les Wexner and the importance of following the money. Because the story of Jeffrey Epstein is one that can almost is the plot of a movie that is turned into a nightmare. And the real reason Jeffrey Epstein was able to get away with raping and abusing children, young women, boys, young men for so many years was because of the vast amounts of money that he was able to acquire. And that largely came from Les Wexner here in Ohio. So we're here to ask Les Wexner the critical questions. And it's been very interesting to see the types of responses that he's giving and his demeanor throughout the interview. He claims to want to provide information and to be helpful in the investigation, but then quickly follows up by saying that he does not recall details around a relationship with somebody that he had for decades. Les Wexner handed his power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein. He allowed Jeffrey Epstein to live in his homes, to have hundreds of millions of his dollars, to use his yachts and his planes. This was obviously a very, very close relationship. And so far, what we have seen is a denial of that relationship. Another important theme that has come up today is that Les Wexner is actually tied to other sex trafficking and child abuse scandals here in Ohio, around the country. There are reports of payments that were made to a gynecologist at Ohio State University. And that money went through Jeffrey Epstein, but came from Les Wexner. And he has been asked about this with no real response, no recollection. And again, as my colleagues have said, I don't think it is feasible or understandable or conceivable that any individual would not have an understanding of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of their own money and can't answer to those questions. So it is clear that this cover-up is vast. It goes as high as the White House and the Department of Justice that still has not released the majority of the Epstein files, still has illegally redacted information, still has not begun any indictments or prosecutions for the very credible allegations that are in the files that we already have seen, all the way to people at universities, in companies, and vast networks of elite individuals across this country. And what I can tell you very clearly is that oversight Democrats on this committee will not back down until we get every detail, until every person who enabled and perpetrated these crimes is held accountable.
All right, quick confession. Before Tavala entered my life, I often had a moment of panic when I had to figure out what I was doing for dinner after a long day. I'm talking about that moment at like 7:15 where you realize you forgot to defrost anything, so now you're panic ordering $47 takeout or eating cereal like a college freshman. With our next sponsor, you can finally avoid the daily what's for dinner spiral once and for all. This podcast is sponsored by Tavala. Tavala is a smart meal delivery service, fresh meals, and a smart oven that does the cooking for you. MeidasTouch listeners can get a Tavala smart oven for just $49 plus free shipping when you order meals 6+ times. Just go to tavala.com/Meidas and use my code Meidas. That's MEIDAS. Tavala makes it so easy. You just scan the meal's QR code, pop it in the oven, and it cooks everything perfectly. Steams, bakes, broils automatically. No guesswork needed. The other night I made herb roasted chicken with creamy pumpkin risotto in my Tavala, and it was incredible. Like it actually tasted homemade without me lifting a finger. Tavala feels like cooking in the future, except it's right now. Their meals are chef-crafted with real, fresh ingredients and honestly save me at least 45 minutes a night. It removes that mental load of figuring out dinner. And it's not just for their meals, I've used it for frozen stuff too. Scanned Eggo waffles, done. Cinnamon rolls, perfect. With Tavala, you can finally dinner better and remove dinner from your to-do list. For a limited time, because you are a MeidasTouch listener, you can get a Tavala smart oven for just $49 plus free shipping when you order meals 6+ times. Just go to tavala.com/Meidas and use my code Meidas. That's a $49 Tavala smart oven when you head to tavala.com/Meidas and use promo code Meidas. One last time, that's TOVALA.com, and make sure you use my promo code Meidas, MEIDAS. Remember, with Tavala, dinner is taken care of.
Before Donald Trump gave his press conference, we also heard from Caroline Leavitt, and she was being asked questions. She wanted to avoid any questions about Epstein, but when she was asked basic questions like, so when do the American people get those tariff rebate checks, Caroline? When do they get those? She goes, I don't have an update for you. Then shortly thereafter, Donald Trump posted $2,000 tariff rebate checks for everybody. He's a liar. He's a fraud. There's no tariff rebate checks. And this is more of him just trying to lead people on, as he's done his entire career, to destroy their lives and try to distract them from the Epstein files. Here, play this clip.
Sure. I'll go to both of you, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead, and then Jake, you can go. You're welcome.
Caroline, can you tell me, is there an update regarding the tariff rebate checks that the White House has promised?
I don't have an update for you on timeline, but I know that it's something that the president and his economic team continue to very seriously discuss.
Oh, and then Donald Trump also talking about his great friend Mike Tyson, and the fact that Mike Tyson likes him shows he's not racist. So again, while MAGA Republicans were not conducting basic oversight into the child sex trafficking ring of Epstein, they were hanging out with Donald, as he says, Mike Tyson and I are best buds. Okay, Donald, here, play this clip.
You talk about a piece of work, but he could fight, couldn't he, huh? Mike Tyson, boy, I tell you, Mike has been loyal to me. Whenever they come out, they say, Trump's a racist. You know, it's like a statement. Trump's a racist. Mike Tyson goes, he's not a racist. He's my friend. He's been there from the beginning. Good times and bad.
Then Donald Trump attacks former President Biden because Trump is demented and says, our former president's an idiot. Here, play this clip.
No, we had an idiot as a president. We had a man that was not a president. Number one, he didn't win the election. He was not a president. Yeah, right. He was a real beauty, wasn't he? He allowed 25 million people into our country. Many of them should not have been here. And now we have, by the way, we went from the worst border in history to the best, by far the best border in history.
Then he goes on to say the DOJ needs to be prosecuting the fake news media, he says, because he doesn't like a free press and he's an authoritarian. Here, play this clip.
So we did something. So they said we couldn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. More Americans are working today than at any time in American history. So we have more Americans right now working than at any time. And, you know, when I say this stuff, I get the fake news back there, a lot of it. Thank you. I agree. Sometimes we have to be very careful because they actually go and it's not pretty, Leo. We have to get Leo and the DOJ involved. But think of that, Leo.
And then Caroline Levitt says, it's important that we all recognize that anything Donald Trump posts on his social media should be attributed as directly to Donald Trump. They're his messages. That's why he's so great. So 2 weeks ago when he posted the photo of Obama's faces on apes and then said it wasn't him, that wasn't the official message. But now it is the official message. Anyway, here, play this clip.
To reap the consequences of it. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. President Trump just said on Truth Social that it would be a big mistake for the UK to hand over control of Chagos Islands to Mauritius. But the State Department earlier this week has said that the U.S. does support that handover. So does this post now suggest that the U.S. does not, or that President Trump had changed his mind on this?
The post should be taken as the policy of the Trump administration. It's coming straight from the horse's mouth. When you see it on Truth Social, you know it's directly from President Trump. That's the beauty of this president and his transparency and relaying this administration's policies to all of you and to the rest of the world.
More questions to Caroline Levitt that she refuses to answer, like, is Donald Trump going to withhold military aid to Taiwan? And Donald Trump refuses, and they refuse to answer that question. And because Donald Trump is being told by Xi Jinping, I won't invite you in April to hang out with me in China if you give more aid to Taiwan. So I just want you to think about it. Why I'm showing this to you is because while they're covering up a child sex trafficking ring, Donald Trump's here also destroying Americans' foreign policy interests. And you see it taking place right in front of us. Here, play this clip.
Sure. Two questions. One on the president's schedule today. It says he has signing time. What is he signing today? Are we expecting executive orders or actions? That's the first question. And then second, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that a U.S. arms sale package for Taiwan is in limbo. Can you just confirm this reporting / offer any additional comment? And how concerned is the administration that if an arms deal with Taiwan went through, that this could disrupt the China-U.S. Trade truce?
Sure. Well, I haven't read the full Wall Street Journal report. I will just say with respect to an arms sale to Taiwan, I don't have any announcements or updates on that for you today. And to your first question about what the president will be signing, he will be signing an executive order, which you will all be hearing about later this afternoon, and you will see him in 1 hour at the Black History Month reception. We'll see you there. Thank you.
Now, Caroline Levitt is also asked, well, on Iran, can you share why Donald Trump would need to strike Iran's nuclear facilities if they're totally obliterated? And she's so dumb that she doesn't even realize the question. She's like, well, last time we totally obliterated. So obviously we need to do more strikes. If it's totally obliterated, why would you need to do more strikes? Here, play this clip.
Thank you, Michael.
John.
Garrett.
On Iran, I'm not asking you for like military secrets here, but can you share?
Know I would be
unless you want to give them. Can you share a little bit about the president's thinking on whether or not to strike Iran, who he's talking to, what information he's consuming, and why a strike might be necessary on a nuclear program he says was obliterated by the last U.S. strike?
Well, there's many reasons and arguments that one could make for a strike against Iran. The president had a very successful operation as commander-in-chief with Operation Midnight Hammer, as you know, as you just said, totally obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. The president has always been very clear, though, with respect to Iran or any country around the world, diplomacy is always his first option, and Iran would be very wise to make a deal with President Trump. and with this administration. He's talking to many people. Of course, his national security team, first and foremost, and you know who the members of that team are. And this is something, obviously, the president takes seriously. He's always thinking about what's in the best interest of the United States of America, of our military, of the American people. And that's how he makes decisions with respect to military action of any kind.
And on the flip side of that,
and as we have two aircraft carrier groups that are right now by Iran, and we are in a war posture, not like a limited strike, like a massive war posture unfolding. No explanation to the American people. This is what Pete Hegseth is doing right now. He's hanging out with Dr. Oz, and they are doing a Maha extravaganza right now. This as the Pentagon prepares for potential military operations against Iran, as Idris Ali posts. There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. We're almost at 6 million subscribers. We're so close. He's like 30,000 subscribers away. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks, everybody.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.